Every single one of our residents are at a pivotal point in their life. They can either go this road or this road. They do all the work. We just provide the environment for them. That building has 19 apartments where we house men, women, and their kids. And we provide a lot of their needs while they're with us. Your apartment's set for you, and it is furnished. Volunteers have come in and they have cleaned this apartment for you. The pantry is stocked. They make sure that you have perishable items that you're going to need for that first week before you have to start budgeting on your own. We have apartment sponsors that will walk alongside you, and they will check in on you, and they will text you. They will see if you want to go to church or if you need something. They don't pay rent because the goal that they have is for them to pay off debt and to save, because those are two things that we need to be able to do. And most importantly, we're working. They have to be working because we can't do what we do in teaching them how to budget. We teach them life skills. They receive weekly case management, and then they go to life skills classes on Tuesday nights at 6:30. And those are mandatory. Both of those are mandatory. Life skills class is often taught by people from the community. And it's just, anybody can teach a life skill. Basic car repair or how to check your oil and things like that one week. And then the next week, I had a woman come and she brought a friend and they helped them do taxes. We call it a 90-day program, but most people need way more time than that. And so it can be anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7 months, because we want them to be successful. We don't want to say, oh, you're done, go. We want them to say, hey, I can do this. Because they could continue in the life that they're currently in. And that's, a life of poverty, drug abuse, you name it, trauma, or they can pivot. When I first started, we had 2 teens in our building. Both of them were from Central High School. They don't have a home. One of them sleeping in a car, and one of them doesn't even really know what their address is because they're just sleeping wherever they can find a place. They just decided we're taking them. That was probably the point where we felt like God was saying, you got to do this. So the next year in 2018, we set aside 1 apartment that was going to be for 2 youth. Well, in 2019, we had 3 apartments we were using. This was just kids that were coming from the school system, that we were hearing from people like Lavelle and people like Anne from Lafayette. And we weren't looking into any other ways to find these kids. They were just finding us. So as we did that, we just developed the program. What does it look like? What's different for youth than it is for the adults? The amount of attention that they need is huge. The resources that we need for them are even bigger, and the trauma that they've suffered is horrific. We opened our youth facility last August. We can serve 12 in that building, but the key to that is that cycles. So we've already had, I think, 16 in that building. Because some of them come in and they're like, I really like my freedom. They don't, they're not in prison. They're not captive there. But to be honest with you, the structure is too much sometimes. They're only 17 or 18. They don't really understand what normal is supposed to look like for them. I'll tell a brief story. And this is a kid that we got last year from one of our great people, like Mrs. Rucker and Miss Ann. One time he's just telling a story about his red letter house. And we're like, what is a red letter house? And he said, the houses that you can't go in. Condemned homes. He lived in condemned homes. And he talks about it very nonchalantly and not like, oh, poor me. First of all, they would have to know that it's not normal, and they don't. If all you know is survival skills and you don't know how to thrive, You're always just going to be surviving. Just everyday, day-to-day things that you were taught probably by your family, and I was taught by my family, and we taught our kids. And so it's the day-to-day things that are not day-to-day for them. We have the adult building. We've been working with adults since 2011 here in town. Last year we opened our youth house, and it's 17, 18, 19-year-olds. And then we have the thrift store, which its sole responsibility is to help fund what we do for this community. COVID didn't do a lot of good for our community or anybody else's, but the thrift world exploded for us. That does keep us from asking for a lot of funding. We don't take federal funding. So that thrift store is very important. So you're shopping with a purpose when you shop there, and you're donating with a purpose when you take all your great items there. In turn, that's radically changing lives. Volunteering at the thrift store, if you want to get to meet some of the coolest people on the planet, I would say the day that I leave this position, or the day that I go home to Jesus, I will remember the people I've met. Amazing people.